Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on the What I Love About Sex podcast. This episode is going to discuss delayed ejaculation. I'm going to talk about you guys who have a really hard time reaching an orgasm, and it might take about 30 minutes for you or more. That's pretty much the definition of delayed ejaculation. You're horny, you're turned on, you are being stimulated, but 30 minutes plus and you're still not reaching an orgasm, even if you want to, right? Some guys are able to hold off because they don't want to yet. But if you're the type of guy who wants to and it's just not happening 30 minutes later, and this has been happening for, let's say, like 6 months, then that means you're dealing with some delayed ejaculation. And the first thing I want you to know is that anorgasmia, which is the inability to have an orgasm, affects about 15% of the population. 10% are women. I'm speaking more to the male side of what's most likely causing your lack of orgasm, but just know that this is a thing. It's not something that's not heard of. And I know a lot of guys who feel like they're weird for having this experience because they hear about premature ejaculation all the time. And then when you bring up, your inability to orgasm, guys will say things like, yeah, well, I wish I had that problem. I see that a lot. I see that a lot in commentary on content and just hearing guys with DE or delayed ejaculation say like, I know guys wish they had my problem, but like it really is a problem. So I'm just here to tell you I empathize with you. I understand how big of a problem this can be. I've had clients who've had DE and I've helped them through it. And one client of mine actually had delayed ejaculation for 17 years. And after working with him for about 5 to 6 months, he was having orgasms during sex with his wife. And they were both in shock. Like, holy shit, this whole time he could have had orgasms. And us having kids didn't have to be as stressful. And we just had to change all these things, and wow, like they didn't know that it was possible to get out of that DE situation. But I got him out, or he got himself out. I helped him and showed him the tools that he needed to use to get himself out. But I hope that gives you hope that even if you've been dealing with delayed ejaculation for years and years, it does not mean you have to continue. And there are ways of getting to a place of orgasm. You just have to understand your body, understand your mind, and understand your relationship. So I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why you may not be having orgasms. So the first one is probably the more obvious one, which is you're not getting the type of touch that your body really craves. And this is often one of the biggest problems in men with delayed ejaculation, at least with my clients, because I've had multiple clients with DE who came to me with DE wanting me to help them. So a lot of these guys have one thing in common, or they have a few things in common, but one they always have in common is they prioritize her pleasure so much that they don't realize what they really like. And I find this out because I ask my client, what type of touch do you need to get really turned on? And he's like, I don't know, as long as she's enjoying herself, that's all that matters. And I'm like, that's great. I love that intention, right? I love that you care so much about her orgasm and like wanting to make sure she's feeling good. And I totally get that if she's feeling really good, it's definitely a turn on, right? But let's still try to understand your physical body and what type of touch leads you to a certain amount of pleasure that could over time get you to orgasm. And most of these guys, when I say this, they're like, I don't know. And I'll have them do masturbation exercises where they focus exactly on this, like what type of touch feels the best. And I have them experiment with different types of touch and different rhythms and using lube, not using lube, using different things, using toys, and just to understand and have them understand their body a bit more so that they realize, oh, wow, this actually feels great. Or I didn't realize when I really slowed it down, this felt good, because so many guys are used to rushing, especially their masturbation technique. Or when they loosen their grip, it feels nicer, right? When they use some lube and loosen it, right? So, and some guys, it's tightening it a little bit. So you got to figure out what's best for you. And that takes some experimentation, especially through masturbation, because when you can masturbate and learn something new, you don't have to worry about anyone else in the picture. You can really prioritize yourself and work on your own body and understand your own body. And that's the sole intention. So that's why that's one of the reasons why I love and constantly am promoting masturbation, for physical health and mental health, sexual health standpoint. Like, you get to learn so much about yourself, and you get to do so in a way that doesn't involve anyone else being there or watching or their emotions. So you get to completely relax and learn. So yeah, that's not being stimulated enough not being touched in the right place is definitely, or the right kind of touch is definitely something you want to pay attention to if you're a guy dealing with delayed ejaculation. And during masturbation, notice how mindless and routine the touch is right now. Like, maybe you've been doing the same thing over and over and over. And if you experimented and did it a bit different, you might find things that help you a lot more. Another reason would be you have anxiety around sex. And this can definitely feed itself, because if you have delayed ejaculation for some time and then you have a partner who's like, when are you going to come? Are you almost there? Come on, it's taking forever. Then you're starting to feel this pressure. And that, of course, is going to bring on some anxiety over time, feeling pressure from your partner, feeling like something's wrong with you. And then you start overthinking. I know for clients of mine who've had delayed ejaculation, they definitely had a lot of inner talk that was negative around sex. And it's like, why can't I just fucking come? Why can't I just get there? What's wrong with me? And like, I don't want to disappoint her, right? And it turned into all these thoughts that were working against them and actually making an orgasm more difficult, because they were anxious, and therefore they were trying to force it instead of just relax into it. And that was something specific I worked on with one of my clients, was not forcing. Actually, a few clients of mine had this language of like forcing and putting pressure on themselves. So they would start talking like just do it. Like, come on, just fucking come. Like, wait, I'm going to get there. Wait, I'm going to get there. Hold on. Right. And then they were putting pressure on their partner. And, one of my clients would use the phrase, I just have to push through. I just have to push through this. And so even the language they used started being pressure induced. Like, I just need to push through. Sex should not be something you're pushing or forcing, right? It should be you letting go. It should be a relaxing release. And when it starts to feel like this pressure-filled push and like force, and you just have to do this, then it takes the pleasure out. And when the pleasure is out, there's more pressure that comes in. So I always encourage my DE guys to really work on their dialogue, the way they talk to their partner, and also monitoring the thoughts that they notice in their head that are pressure filled and have force behind it. And so yeah, that was a big thing. And in even getting to the point of letting their partner know, like, I don't want to be forcing it. So if it happens within this time frame, it happens. And if it doesn't, that's okay. We still had a good time. And, if I can enjoy, I told my clients, tell your partner, if you can enjoy the sex experience, that's what's most important. We want to get to the place of enjoying each other and not making orgasm the goal that we're always trying to hit, because it's this thing we can't reach. How can we just enjoy our time together and have fun and feel sexy and feel connected? And so anxiety is another cause. And anxiety, especially around those inner thoughts and the dialogue you share with your partner. So monitoring the way you talk and the words you use is really going to help lower that anxiety, and also taking the pressure off of you to have to come during sex and talking to your partner about that is also going to lower anxiety. Okay. Another reason why men experience delayed ejaculation can be a physiological reason. So diabetes, neurological issues, cardio conditions that affect blood circulation, like high cholesterol, high blood pressure. These are things you want to get checked by a doctor, right? And I always tell clients, rule out the physical. Really make sure that you're a healthy guy. And if you don't have, let's say you have poor blood circulation, and say you're obese, you need to exercise more, right? Then at least knowing that is, lets you know where the opportunity lies for overcoming the DE, taking care of your body more, and exercise is often the answer for many things. So if you know that, hey, if I work on this and I, take a walk around the block and start doing that from being completely sedentary, like if you make small changes, you will notice a difference if exercise is the main issue. So definitely you don't have to be in amazing shape right away, but if you start going for walks, or if right now you're walking and maybe you take an extra walk a few times a week, you start jogging, you start weight training twice a week, just this small change is going to help you see change in the bedroom. You'll see a little bit at a time, and that change is going to reward you, and you're going to get excited, and you're going to continue more of that progress. So just start small and you will notice small changes. Another reason why men experience delayed ejaculation is too much alcohol use. If you're drinking a lot, you'll definitely experience whiskey dick, they call it. More than 2 drinks a week will make an impact on your sex life. So everyone's different, but alcohol, the more you're consuming it, the more difficult it's going to be for your body to function properly. And you want to keep that in mind. Another reason why guys experience delayed ejaculation are medications. And these medications could be antidepressants. Really, any medication could possibly have this side effect. And if your doctor tells you you need this and there's no way of lowering the dosage, or there's no way of switching to a different medication that doesn't have these side effects of delayed ejaculation, then you want to do your best to mentally be in control of the DE, which means really handling the anxiety as best you can. Because I know guys who are on medications who do have the side effect of DE, but because they change the way they have sex with their partner, they're still able to ejaculate because there's no pressure anywhere else. So the medication can make it harder or more difficult is what I'm saying. But for a lot of guys, the medication doesn't completely take away the 100% ability to reach an orgasm. So work on the other areas if you are on a medication that has that side effect. And then another reason why you might be experiencing DE is stress. If you are really stressed out, I had one of my clients, it was mostly stress. He had a very intense job and he was working all the time. And he also had some gut issues, which I think were also related to his stress, or at least they got worse when he was really stressed. And because of the stress and him not managing the stress, it felt like whenever sex was brought up, he would get anxious, and then it was stress plus anxiety, and then his stomach would get out of control, and then he would experience delayed ejaculation with that. So whenever it was time to have sex, he felt like he was a disappointment and he wasn't doing what he wanted to do. And it all started with the heavy amount of stress. So stress will definitely have a huge impact, and then it can lead to other problems too. That led to issues with his partner too, because then the DE kept happening, and then he would say, oh, I'm stressed, or I have my gut issues. And then, she would get frustrated. And that often happens. It's like our partner doesn't always mean to get frustrated with us for instance, having a stomach issue. Like that's not we can help it, I guess, but we can't fully control when stuff like that happens. Sometimes it just is random. So our partner's frustration, we have to see, is coming from a place of wanting to feel connected with us and wanting to have a great sex life with us. They're not, and sometimes that frustration comes across mean or lacking empathy or putting pressure on us. And sometimes we have to remind our partner, like, hey, I love you. I see why you're frustrated. I get it. I would be too in your situation, but I want you to see that, this is not something I want to be dealing with. And I want to work on it. I want to get help for it. And I just hope that you see that if you get more frustrated, it adds more pressure on me and it actually makes it worse. So if you can do your best to just, stay calm during these moments, and I'm going to figure this out, and just work with me here. Let's work together so that I don't have to feel this pressure from you. Like, get that? Does that make sense to you? This is one of those hard conversations where it's like, I got to tell her not to be frustrated because that's going to put more pressure on me, but she needs to know that. She needs to know that. And that's what I had this client I'm talking about do, was have conversations with his wife and talk to her like that. And then he got help from me at the same time. So he actually was doing something about it, right? You can't just tell your partner, I'm working on it, and then you're not doing anything to change. Then your partner's going to read bullshit and not believe you. And then that's even more frustrating, right? So definitely get help. Get help from me. I can help you one-on-one. I've helped multiple guys with delayed ejaculation and all of them have got to the point of having orgasms. I've never had a client with DE who I've worked with who wasn't able to get there consistently, which I'm really proud of. And it's been awesome for my clients. And even this guy, the testimonial, the story of like his journey and where he ended up by the end of our coaching, it was like night and day. It was awesome. So yeah, get help. And if you tell your partner, I'm working on it, make sure you're actually working on it. Okay. Another reason why delayed ejaculation might happen is because you experience shame. This can happen in many ways. Shame can come from your partner or past partner even making fun of you or talking down to you. And it may not have even had to do with the delayed ejaculation, right? But a different sexual shame, maybe them making fun of your body or your dick size, or saying that they've had better lovers, right? Their exes were better in bed than you were. And when that happens, it creates the shame of like, oh, I'm not good enough. That was so embarrassing, or I'm humiliated, right? And it's like, it's that feeling of just wanting to hide and wanting to avoid. And sometimes those memories stick with you if you don't work through them and you don't overcome them in the way of being able to just let them go, and you're holding on. Part of you feels like it's true what's being said about you. So you hold on to it and you believe it more and more the more you think it. And then it creates this identity in yourself sexually that you feel is true and you need to hold on to. And it's not a healthy identity. So when you're having sex, that's what you express, that's what comes out, and that's what you're feeling. So it's related more to pressure, once again, than pleasure. And that's when you get into these issues of not having orgasms. And then there's also like some people believing they don't deserve orgasms if they don't feel like they deserve to feel that good. The final reason for guys experiencing delayed ejaculation, and these are not every single reason, I'm just listing the main ones that I've seen and worked with. Masturbation. Let's say you masturbate a lot and it gets to the point of having sex with your partner and you've already masturbated, so you're not able to come again, right? That happens for some guys and they just can't stop masturbating. So they're not having that experience with their partner, or it's the way that they're masturbating. This is a more popular one. Like, let's say you use death grip, for example, and you're using a tight grip on your dick when you're masturbating, and you're going really fast. But your wife or your girlfriend, when you're having sex with her, she's not as tight as that grip when you penetrate her. And she also prefers it slower. So because you're always masturbating and you masturbate more with that tight, fast grip and speed, you're training your body to only be able to orgasm in that way. So when it comes to being with your partner, it's not working out because you've trained your body to go the other way. So this is pretty common. How you masturbate has a lot to do with your sex life with your partner. And this is why masturbation is so important. And why you need to be mindful about it. You have to take it seriously, use it for good. You don't always have to use it with porn. It's an amazing tool that could teach you a lot about your current struggles and also can help you out of your current struggles. And that's why I came up with sex meditations, which is about like 50 masturbation meditations that teach you how to masturbate best for your body in a healthy way. And if it's not JOI, jerk off instruction, then there's also meditations in there that are reflective and help you think about your sexual shame or your connection with your partner sexually or what you really desire or your fantasies. And it helps you think about that. So check out Sex Meditations. It's a monthly subscription, but you could just join, as long as you want. And the link for that is in the description of this episode. So I'd love to see you in Sex Meditations. And if not, I will talk to you on the next episode. Have an amazing morning or night wherever you are in the world. Talk to you soon.